Hello everyone, this is John for PokerVIP.com, and in this video, as requested by a couple members of the forum, is a 5-L blast session on 888. Now, I brought in the webcam just to change it up a little bit, and as requested, I'm going to play one table. Normally I play two tables, but lots of people are saying, could you just slow it down a little bit, show us a little bit more? And basically just, getting more depth with the strategies and thought process behind, the plays I make and why I make them. So we'll do that. It's going to be a 2 to 4 parter. We'll see how these go down and if you enjoy them. And yeah, just leave any comments and reviews. And if you like them, we'll do more. If you don't, we'll do less. But I'm here, I'm playing, and let's go. Games are super soft. Lots of runners just all around the clock. I mean, there's 192 people in the player pool. And I'm making this at 1 PM on a Thursday. So you can only imagine peak time what it will be. I have auto top up on, and we should always be trying to play with a 100 big blind stack or more, because that's generally the strategy articles or books or whatever that we'll be reading. Sort of like any sort of like strategy we're sort of like reading or watching will generally be based around 100 big blind strategy. So here, pretty straightforward. I open ace-10. Definitely a hand we want to be opening in our under the gun +1 range. And I'm going to go just for a straight up bet here. He's going to have some draws, some worse 10s. And we just want to build a pot, protect that hand and get value. And he just quickly folds. And, obviously there, say we did get raised, we'd have to call. Of course, because we have top pair, top kicker. And he can have all these draws. And then we just basically assess what happens on the turn. Or if he called, then we'd want to see like a king, an 8, a diamond, something like that. Those are the cards that we want to kind of avoid seeing, and then we can go ahead and make a large bet again. Or if those cards do come, then we can think, well, maybe it's time to slow down a bit. 10-jack offsuit in the big blind facing an almost 3x open. Quite a large open. Lots of people min-raise or 2.5x. This obviously slightly larger. But 10-jack should certainly be a call. And we want to call with this kind of hand because it plays pretty well post-flop. But obviously we can be dominated by hands like, Queen 10, King 10, Ace 10, Jack Queen, King Queen, King Jack, sorry, Ace Jack. Just going to check here. He keeps checking. I mean, I'm not too sure how many aces he's going to have in his range. Or maybe this is a good spot for us to go ahead and overbet. It's kind of odd because we don't rep a whole lot. But I don't feel like he's got an ace, and he probably doesn't have a big pair. So let's see if we can try and make him fold like one of those sort of like weaker, second or third pair type hands, which he does. And I just feel like there, if we bet sort of like half pot, then, I think we're going to get called by those kind of hands. So we're trying to get him to fold those. Okay, so here, ace king suited in position. I don't think we should really be flattening that off in here. We should be playing it quite straightforward. Trying to get value, trying to build a pot. Obviously such a strong hand, ace king, and it's not just the fact that ace king's strong and that it's suited, it's even stronger. It's the fact that it's way less likely that he has a hand like aces and kings, and also if he has a hand like ace queen, king queen, then we've got him absolutely dominated. So it's just one of those great hands to play, where you can be sort of like more sure he doesn't have a hand that beats us, and more sure we have a hand that dominates his. We've been called for, jammed on, and this is just a very easy call. We're just in a flip situation. Obviously, just need to avoid a queen on the river, and we take his money. Oh, there it is. It's a nice welcome. They're welcoming him. It's like, hey, come in, John. It's all right, man. They're getting me in the game now. Just those things, by the way, shake it off. I understand as well if like, you're moving up to a stake, you're taking a shot, and something that happens, it can be super, like, soul-crushing. Because you're like, finally I win a flip. Or, just like, come on, hold, and it comes like that. It can be pretty brutal. But it's just a mindset thing, and a lot of players watching this will have developed it, of course, over the years. You just become kind of like, whatever, Okay, I got ace-king in versus queens, you had a queen. It sucks, but, that's just life. And that's how you've got to treat a lot of, moments like that. It is what it is. He should win that hand more often than we should, or, sometimes somebody's going to, get there, and you just got to shake it off and just be like, okay, did I make the correct play? Well, my 3-bet ace-king suited in position. The guy showed 50 big blinds. I made a pretty clear call with a very strong hand. It's the correct play, so why can we ever be sad about it? And if you always just try and keep that focus and that sort of like, mindset, then you'll be absolutely fine. And, a lot of you might have read like mindset books or check out people like Elliot Rowe or Jared Tendler and be like, is this like real? Does it really help? I mean, it does help. I think there's certainly an extent where, these things can definitely help improve your mindset and your general approach to the game. Spot here, I've gone for a delayed c-bet on a king. Really good card that we can wreck. I would bet a lot of turns if he checked me again. But on a board like that, when he peeled out the big blind, we can often run into lots of one pairs, straight sets, two pairs, combos. So I was happy to just check there and then just rep some turns. Ace Jack suited, blind versus blind, going for the raise, and we're being 3-bet pretty quick. One thing to notice is he's not that deep stacked. But I think people might be playing a little bit too aggressively here, or they might be sort of, getting out of line. So we're definitely going to defend. And again, we block a lot of hands that he's repping. Aces, ace queen, ace king, pocket jacks. Really hard for him to have those hands. We really missed the flop here. We've got the two overs and the backdoor flush draw, but with his sizing and the money back, we're just going to have to go ahead and fold. Basically, if we hit an ace or a jack, we're going with it. If we hit some sort of draw, we're going with it. But, he can also give up on just a lot of, flops and stuff. You might check there and we can go ahead and bet the turn and take it down. Even though ace jack might be the best hand sometimes. And we could also just check it down. Just take the showdown value of ace jack and, that would be fine also. Some straightforward folds here. Obviously, the greatest thing about Snap. I keep calling it Blast. Blast is their sort of like sit and go, spin and go thing. It's Snap. Did I say Blast at the beginning as the intro? That would be embarrassing. Snap. I'm playing Snap, guys, which is just speed poker, Zoom, whatever you guys know it as. I'm sure you all got the gist. But yeah, get through lots of hands really quick. Definitely something that's going to add some money to your bottom line. Just make sure you don't miss spots. I hate it when you see like somebody sat on the button with like ace-4 off and they just fast fold. We should definitely just be waiting around to open that because that's a hand that should fall into our button opening range. And especially in a game like this where the blinds fold way more frequently, like the small blind has probably already folded and moved on and the big blind is just waiting to fold, then we should have that patience and we should definitely make sure we stick to good opening ranges. It's not all about just folding, trying to find like big hands. It's just playing good, correct poker and understanding the players and the game itself. If you want to get signed up to 888 as well, there should be a link below. We'll just go to our deals page. It'll be there for you. Believe that. Ain't nothing wrong with folding. Got to know when to fold them. I'd definitely say when it comes to like a fast fold game, then this is probably the softest one. Definitely softer than Poker Stars. iPoker, it's pretty close. But yeah, I would probably say this is the softest pool. So see Olympia, I think we can just check our 6-7. It's a playable hand. We're in position. I don't think we need to blow up the pot or raise and get 3-bet. So yeah, just happy to check that one and see the flop. And if he checks here, I'll go ahead and bet and just try and win it with 7 high. And if he bets, I'll just go ahead and fold and give it up. He does check, so we're going to go ahead and bet. And I think 7 into 10 works perfectly. Will he check call? Will he check raise? Yeah, sometimes, but we might as well take a stab. 6 on the turn, quite interesting. We now beat a fair few of his hands, like ace deuce, ace 4, or just any deuces and 4s, or some king high floats he had. But we're going to go ahead and check. Obviously, we don't want to just go ahead and build a pot again. Interesting here that he's now led. So he's repping a 10, a flush, a king, or better. Pretty interesting one. I think we can opt to fold this one, but we would call with a 10, basically. But, third pair, when the backdoor flush draw gets there, not too sure that we have to be calling that one. Got the ducks in the small blind. Quite often one that we will just be folding. Got the hat on. It's the winter, you know. It's December the 22nd. It is cold outside. It's warm in here though. Heating's on, hat's on. Grinding some good old snap poker on 888.
Power off.
Excuse you. That's the Bluetooth speaker, not some crazy sex robot. A synth, I think they're called. If anyone knows that program on E4. Still just lots of folds, which is fine. You just got to keep, you know, playing correct ranges. Don't get bored as well, by the way, guys. Don't just start, like, playing looser. We're folding, we're getting in a ton of hands, like, a ton of hands. You know, we've been playing, like, 8 minutes, played hundreds of hands. You know, gone through them. Sorry, hundreds of hands, isn't it? That was a lie. We've played dozens and dozens of hands. That's true. You probably play, you know, 200 to 300 hands per hour per table, which is pretty cool. I think this is the first ever one table video I've made. Generally, it'll be 2 tables if it's a fast fold, 1 table if it's a 2 if it's a fast fold, 4 if it's like regular speed. That's generally how we've done. But I did just recently make a 6-table Sky Poker one, which make sure you go check out. It was really interesting, really fun to play. And I actually hung around those games for a week and just played and enjoyed it. It was the most fun I've had playing poker. Spent like 20 to 50 NL, like 8 to 12 tables. And it was just so much fun. Like, the dynamics on a site like that is just awesome. Anyway, we wake up with a hand and we can go ahead and raise it. Pocket 9's in the cutoff. Very strong hand. Hand that we should be opening from all positions and defending versus 3 bets. But we just get that one through. All these videos are going to be 20 minutes long as well. Obviously, I can understand a 30-minute one-table video would maybe get a bit sluggish, so we're trying to get it right. Maybe I can make my webcam bigger on the next one. We'll see. So I raise a Queen 8, definitely hand we want to be opening the button with, and I'm going to go ahead and fold versus a 3-bet. Obviously, 4-betting with it doesn't make much sense. Calling with it makes less sense. So we just need to go for that fold. No HUD, so, you know, it is basically, you know, making notes on people, understanding the games, making population reads, you know. Hope you guys can't hear the alarm. There is an alarm going on outside. Hope it's not my car. God, it'd be really funny if it was mine, wouldn't it? When I'm like, this alarm's annoying me. And then my car's been broken into. Anyway, so I check my option once it's limped again. And then I just go and bet my gut shot and take it down. One thing I will start doing is if limping becomes like such a thing, I will just start to like 4x the big blind versus these limps with like a pretty wide range. Pair 3's on the button, easy open, and take it down. You're going to win a lot of blinds, and you'll see how quick these people fold. They are out of there. You know, they have folded before, like, you know, the hands even got to you. So, you know, you can definitely start to open your, like, cut-off and button range, you know, wider and wider throughout. Gonna go ahead and 3-bet here. King Queen versus under the gun, and you know he looks like a weak player because he doesn't have the full $5. So we can go ahead and ISO pick on him, and just play a lot of post-flop pots in position versus him. Easy squeeze here, and I think pot is about perfect. Maybe go slightly higher, but we have an ace and a king. Pot works out pretty well. Don't really know where to look when I'm making these with a webcam. Kind of looking at the table, looking at myself, looking at the webcam, so I do apologize. I feel like, yeah, I guess I just have to look at the table. It's a HD cam as well, so you see me in HD. Ladies. Gonna walk with a Queen 10. I like how it just shows you winning hands here in the chat. Makes you feel like a bit of a boss. I wonder if that was something they did intentionally to really make the recreationals feel great about themselves. You know, she's like, oh, look, I'm winning, but they're actually just like losing and losing and losing. 8 king again in the small. And again, go for a 3-bet, and I think pot works out perfectly. We'll 3-bet and take it. Ace 3 of hearts, UTG1. Gonna go ahead and fold here. Really just, you know, I would open this sometimes, but looking at these stack sizes, I feel like I can get ripped on quite a lot. And I really don't want to be putting money in with a hand like that, which I then have to go ahead and fold from such an early position with so many players behind to act. Have like, you know, sort of like eights or better, king, queen, king, jack suited maybe. Might become opens, but that one is certainly a fold. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet this hand in position. We could also just flat here, but the 3-betting is also fine. Definitely want to be mixing that up a little bit. And we take it down. So one thing I've really started to notice here, blinds are passive, people fall to 3-bets a lot. We can definitely use that for the future parts, where we start, you know, 4xing the big blind versus limps, and we start 3-betting a lot more. I think that'll work out really well. Obviously, when you're 3-betting, and if you're 3-betting a lot, then doing it in position will always feel better. A7 anyway, I make a defend, can mix it up between 3-betting and calling. I'm more of a peeler. And we flop top pair top kicker here, so a really good one, but obviously a lot of turns that we need to be wary of. But that doesn't mean we want to raise, because raising will just blow up the pot and it'll get us into so many tricky positions. So we're just going to go ahead and call. 10 on the turn is terrible. 8, 10, 9, 10, 8, 9 will get there, plus any random 10s that you may have. But after calling pre-flop with a decent hand like this and flopping top pair, top kicker, we ain't going to fold yet. We're going to go ahead and make a call and then basically check and hope he checks back the river. Which he does, and we take it down. Should be able to see what he had. Oh. Okay, he had a worse 7. I think he played his hand fine. Maybe if I was him, I would have checked back turn, because like I say, it's just such a bad turn for both of us there. Lots of 10s in both of our range. 6s here, we see an open and a 3-bet, so we're going to have to fold, sadly. No set mining today. No looking for the devil, as we like to call it. Okay. So, you know, slowly getting back that loss with the ace-king versus queens. 10 jack off and the gun +1 pretty close. Again, just bearing in mind the stack sizes in the blinds. Pocket 3s here, going to go ahead and defend. Slightly deeper than 100 big blinds. It gives us a slightly better implied odds, so that when we hit a set, if we win a lot more money. But the flop comes ace, king, queen, so we are out of there. Ace-9 suited here, not a good spot to go ahead and 3-bet. I would have 3-bet versus cut-off or button. Versus under gun +1, we can go ahead and fold that. He's just going to have a stronger range than if the cut-off or button open, basically. Nice hand here on the button. And we're just going to go for the min raise. These blinds, guys, there's some money to be made picking on these blinds. More so than a lot of other sites I've played these fast folds on. There is a lot of money just raising these buttons. You know, maybe it becomes one of those things where you're opening like a 65 to 75%, you know, button opening range would be insane. But you know, if they're folding that often, then you probably should. And then again, you open more from the button, then okay, so why don't I open more from the cutoff? You know, because maybe the button's sitting out a little bit more. Maybe they haven't adjusted like we have. So we can just start opening just a lot more frequently in those two late positions, and also as well small blind versus big blind. There'll also be a lot of money there. We're raising here, even though we are aware that this guy doesn't have many chips. I think here's one of those spots that we can actually just jam and just not really care. I mean, it's got like just over twice the pot, and we have a straight drawn and over, so I think we just stick it in. Sadly, we run into one of those hands that really crushes us, where he's got our overtaken and he's got some flush draw outs and stuff. Hey, it doesn't work out, but definitely one of those spots I'm happy to just go ahead and stick it all in versus his stack size and stack to pot ratio. With our hand strength, of course, you know, if he calls us with just a 9, we need a queen, 10, king, or 8. We can maybe make him go ahead and fold third pair, or we could just go ahead and call us with like a worse hand overall, you know, maybe 8, 10, 7, 10, something like that. So lots of positives. And we don't want to bet him to call, him to jam turn. We have to call, not getting the right price kind of thing. Just makes it a lot easier for everyone. So talking about opening up cut-off ranges, Queen 8 suited I think will definitely fall into a cut-off open now, as we realise how tight these blinds are. But sadly for us, we go ahead and run into an early open. Going to sit our next big blind. Be about 20 minutes. Make some very easy folds. Personally for me, this one table in Lark, I quite enjoyed it. Definitely got to talk a lot more about the hands. just a shame when you go through a period of just folding a lot. So that was part 1, playing 5NL Snap, not Blast, over on 888Poker, with the webcam, with the in-depth talk. And yeah, leave some comments, leave some reviews, and if you want more, we'll make more. If you don't, we will not. So this was John from PokerVIP.com. Have a Merry Christmas, and good luck.